Oh, O nafs, when will you ever believe? When will you have enough of the illusions of the world? Don't you see what will happen to you? You too very soon, as all future is very soon, will be exactly like that. You will be left in a dark hole which could be a pit of hell, face to face with the ugly monsters of your doings. Take the world out of your heart. Be pure in your doing. O nafs, O ego, before we fall into that dark pit, before the snakes and the insects come to feed on us, let us prepare together. That person followed Abu Darda radiyallahu ta'ala anhu's remedies. His heart received light. His inner eye opened, and he thankfully remembered his teacher, the doctor of the heart who revived his dead heart. Subhanallah. My dear Islamic brothers, on the path to truth, remember death often. Remember death often. Who will help you to keep away from this world and from the love of this world? Who will help you to serve as a doctor of your heart to cure the ills of this world? Do you know what death is? Beings are created things, will feel, will taste, will know death. It is not a small matter. It is not an easy matter. It is not easy to tell. It is not easy to understand. There are three things which it is impossible to describe: paradise, hell, and death. In order that you may meet this great teacher, we will try and describe it to you as much as it could be described, so that you know and it casts a terror upon your nafs with it. My dear Islamic brothers, death is a created being. Allah Azza wa Jal says, I have created both life and death. It is the biggest of all creatures, created things, and the most terrifying. Whoever sees it dies instantly. It is as big as all the human beings that have been created and will be created, and all the suns and the moons and the stars put together. It has as many heads as the number of these, with as many eyes, mouths, ears and hands. Imagine it. Allah Azza wa Jal created death before He created the living being. The Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, Allah created the soul of the beings 4,000 years before He created the bodies of the beings. And 4,000 years before He created the souls, He created the sustenance of the created beings. And 3,000 years before He created the sustenance, He created death. When death was created with all of its mouth, it screamed, and all the angels trembled with fear and asked Allah Azza wa Jal, O Lord, what is this terrifying noise which puts fear in our hearts and makes us forget our devotions? Allah Azza wa Jal said, it is the voice of death, who will make all that exists in the world and in the heavens to pass. The angels begged Allah Azza wa Jal to see death. Allah said, prepare yourselves. Then He asked Azza wa Jal death to stretch its wings and speak. When the angels saw the grandeur of death and heard its terrifying voice, they all fell senseless for a whole year and asked Allah Azza wa Jal, have you ever created a being greater than death? Allah Azza wa Jal said, of all my creatures, death is the greatest, as big as all living beings put together. And then Allah Azza wa Jal ordered death. Death sat silent and motionless. Allah Azza wa Jal called upon the angel of death and said, "Be the master over death. When I ask you to take the lives of my servants, send it over them so that they all taste death and see their disappearance." The angel of death approached death and said, "I am sent by the eternal truth, when I will be ordered to take the lives of the beings, and you will obey me." Death answered, "You are my master with the orders of Allah Azza wa Jal, and I obey. But know this, that I also will kill all the inhabitants of the heavens, including you. If you really would like to know death, ask the dead, and find one of those who died before dying. They are the ones who have met death. Their bodies have become earth. There needs naught. All the tastes of the world have left them. They are all patient and totally satisfied with their state. Their submission is complete, like the corpse in the hands of the washer. If you wish to know what will happen to you after death, hear this. The greatest suffering awaits the sinner in dying and after death. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, at the moment of death, one will feel the terror and the pain of 100 blows of a sword. Hazrat Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhu says, the moment of death will be as if a tree which is all thorns will be struck through your throat. Its thorns will catch all your veins and nerves, and they will be pulled out of your mouth. The pain of death is exactly like that. And if an atom of the state of the moment of death would be given to the living ones, they could not bear it. They would all perish. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, if the animals knew what death was, you would not have any meat to eat, because they would all turn into skin and bones. And know that it comes in its appointed time. To some when they are 7, to some when they are 87. Allah says, when your appointed time comes, it could not be delayed an hour, nor could it be put forward an hour. There is no time. Be prepared. When they stretch you on the table to wash you, and when they will take you to the dark hole in the ground, you will be asked questions, and the answers had better been prepared. Otherwise there is the torture of the tomb. What pain and horror will come until what is made of dust turns back to dust. Then there is the rising of the dead. Then there is the day of judgment, when Allah Azza wa Jal will be the judge. This is where the right of the weak over the strong will be asked. The hardest to bear is the day of judgment. It is such a fine judgment that Hazrat Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu says that a leaf of autumn which fell on another leaf will be made to lie under the leaf on that day which it lay under. Think sincerely of the rights of others which we continuously grab. Allah Azza wa Jal is merciful. He may forgive the sins which we commit against Him, but the wrongs which we do to His creation, He will not forgive. We will be asked to pay there where there is no payment. We will pay our debts by giving our good deeds to those whom we wronged, and when we are out of good deeds, we will pay by receiving their sins. Make your accounting and pay your debts. When they will stretch you on the table to give you your ghusl, you will hear the voice of the eternal truth. He will say, O my servant, I gave you life. I sent you to this world for an appointed time. I gave you health and sustenance. You squandered that. You didn't take care of the health which I gave you.